Hello, I'm Bradley, and welcome to my channel. The future is scary, isn't it? It's really daunting, and sometimes it's absolutely petrifying. But it's important to keep an open mind and embrace change and embrace the future. And yes, it's often unknown, and yes, often it's uncharted, and sometimes it can be really difficult. Sometimes to watch a loved one go through a difficult experience in life or a difficult journey, it's hard to just stand back and watch. But of course, we try to do our best for our family and our friends and those around us to love and to care. But also, what happens when it's not necessarily family? What happens if it's a career? What happens if it's something which your whole life is based on? What happens if it's a life choice and you're not necessarily sure? Maybe it's something which you've been studying for and you're a student watching this, and maybe you're just not sure that it's going in right and that you've got an exam coming up soon. Maybe it's work and you've got an interview coming up. Or maybe it's something much harder than that, that you've got a loved one who means everything to you, and what they're facing is inside destroying you. I've been there. I've walked that path. I remember my dear Nan, who I lost back in May of 21. And you know what? Just the thought of one day her not being around would absolutely break my heart. And over, and the tears I would cry, thinking that what on earth am I ever going to do? And watching my Nan disappear to the illness of Alzheimer's disease was horrific. And there was a time where I would dread the future. I would dread the future, but in the back of my mind, I knew there was nothing I could do. But of course, every single moment I would make it count. To love, to cherish, to make wonderful memories, and even though my Nan had Alzheimer's, she was still my incredible, beautiful, treasured, cherished Nan. My mum and myself would visit often, and we would always make wonderful memories, and I grew up in the most incredible bond between my mum and my Nan, who was my mum's mum. And in this life, I've been blessed to have an incredible mum, an incredible dad, and my Nan, so to me, I've always had three parents. So watching this constant in my life, my dear Nan, fall ill to this illness, dementia, and become increasingly frail and increasingly almost absent, but yet right in front of me, was hard. And I used to stress and worry, and sometimes I'd cry myself to sleep, thinking, do you know, I almost didn't want the next day to come. I wanted time to freeze when I was with Nan, when the glow was on her face, the smile, and she was there, and I could see that she was there, and she was there right with me. And anybody who knows dementia, Alzheimer's, will know that doors close, doors open. And when the door would open and Nan would be there smiling away, and right in front of her, I'm her grandson, I just felt that I wanted time to freeze and stand still. And you know, I think the cruelest thing in this life is time, that no matter what happens, we're forced to continue. And you know what? I found, even then, the future was really, really scary. But in the back of my mind, I knew there was nothing I could do. And I knew that one day that time would come, and that it was time for my Nan to take the good Lord above, to take his hand, and to take her place. And I'm left with a heartbreak. But you know what I'm left with is incredible memories, and she's with me always. And I feel very, very proud for the legacy she's left with me, and she's with me always, and I feel her presence, and she's teaching me always. And she taught me that no matter what happens in this life, if we work hard, we keep going no matter what. And Nanny, always look your best. You never know what's going to happen or what's around the corner, and family is everything. You get through it. Now, the future is scary, friends, and it's been playing on my mind lately, whether it be something going on in the family, whether it be trying to make the decision if I go for a different job, or maybe I want something to work on my career, and maybe I am wanting to go for another promotion, say, or maybe a different qualification, or maybe there's a family member who's ill, and yet you can't quite seem to get them to maybe take advice or maybe take guidance. And yet, of course, you can't push it on somebody because it's their life, it's not yours. And you don't want to come across as that you're taking over or you're being rude or obnoxious, but you can almost see the future ahead of them, and you just want to try to help, support. We all think, don't we, at times that we know best, but what happens if it's that person in front of you is almost not seeing what you can almost see now? What happens if somebody doesn't want to listen? What happens if it's a financial issue? Maybe it's a relationship. Or maybe, on a positive side of things, maybe you're thinking of asking your friend who is a girlfriend out. Maybe you're thinking of asking and taking that first step. Or maybe it's someone who you've grown closer to over time, and you're thinking that actually, I'm not sure. Should I? Shouldn't I? Maybe it's a conversation which you're not 100% sure where life is taking you. Maybe what you thought years ago your life would be, your life is very different to what you're thinking it was going to be. I always think that life has an incredible plan for us in store, and sometimes it's not aligned with our plan. And for me, I said before you at the age of 32, and you know what, by this age, I thought that I'd have my own children, I thought that I'd be married, and myself and my wife would be travelling the world, and we'd have this beautiful love story. Now that's something which I still hope, and I hope that the good Lord has in store for me on my journey. But you know what, if not, I'm meant for something else. Life is scary, but you know what, life teaches us, it grows us, it develops us, and you know what, it certainly tests us. But all of those things, do you know what, there is positives behind all of these challenges, behind all the scariness of it all, and behind all the difficult elements we go through in life. And it is simply that, isn't it? It's a bumpy road of life, and sometimes we have good days, and sometimes we have bad days. Sometimes we go through difficult storms. Sometimes we go through a storm and so we never think that we're going to get back up, but we do. And then after that storm is another beautiful, incredible horizon, another beautiful, incredible day, one of which we get to cherish, we get to run with, we get to pick up, and we get to go again. And do you know what I think? Little by little, life teaches us, doesn't it? Life experience, that actually when we're younger and we think that maybe a situation or a good day or a wonderful celebration or a loved one is never ever going to leave us, I think life incredibly teaches us that it's not forever, and that's why it's so precious, and that we never know when it's going to come to an end. And that's why it is so fragile. That's why it is so special. And that's why we should embrace it. We should cherish it. If we don't, and I know that life can be scary, and sometimes, believe you me, I've felt like not wanting to get out of bed in the morning because I don't want to know what the day ahead has. When there's been different situations, going back to my nan, bless her heart, I used to think to myself, I want to see my nan, but what happens if this happens? Or what happens if it's not good today? I remember going through operations. I had a lot of operations from 2017 onwards, what should have been just a hernia repair. And it went on to be 4 operations, left me with lots of different lasting issues. And I'm getting there. But there was a time in life where the future would absolutely petrify me. Only recently, I've had a hearing check, and I had my hearing checked. I would say now, probably yearly. It used to be every 6 months. And for a lot of my adult life, I've had really poor hearing, and I wear 2 hearing aids, and I'm deaf on one side, and I wear a cross system, which takes the hearing I hear from my good side, and it mimics it to my deaf side. So it works really, really well. But I had a latest hearing check, which is about a month ago now, and unfortunately my hearing had declined, which was my good side, but they found that I've got some deterioration in that ear. And do you know what, for a split second, do you know what, I'm a 32-year-old man, and it's fine to be in tune with your emotions. And there I am, on my own, and I walk out of the hospital, and actually, do you know what? I really welled up, full of emotion. I thought to myself, do you know what's going to happen if my hearing goes down? How am I going to be my best version of myself? How on earth am I going to meet this incredible, beautiful wife, which I've got hopefully in my plan? And you know, this has worried me for years, that what happens if I have children and I can't hear them in the night? That type of thing. It is silly things like that, which takes over your mind, doesn't it? And to be honest, it's things which you don't necessarily have to worry about. Why do I do it to myself? And of course, I'm quite an obsessive character, and I've got quite an obsessive nature, worrying about things which I don't necessarily have to worry about. But I do, and it stresses me out. But you know what, my friends? The future is scary, but it's also worth it. Because yes, on that day, I found out that my hearing got worse. But you know what? I also found out that I'm doing incredibly well with my job, and that my current line manager is already encouraging me to take the next level and to go for the next promotion. There's good and bad, my friends, in every single day. And there's light in the darkest of situations. I may not have my nan with me on this earth now in body, but she's always with me here, and she's up above with the good Lord. And I've got the most incredible family, the most incredible parents. And it's that support network which gets us through difficult times, isn't it? And you know what, my friends, if you're going through a storm right now, embrace it. Always try to remember, when you go through a situation, how you conducted yourself through it will be remembered, because you'll remember it. And I always think this, you never always remember what someone said to you, but you'll always remember how someone made you feel. So on that note, my friends, the future is a scary one. Sometimes it's downright petrifying, but embrace it. Be kind, be considerate, give yourself grace when you can. Don't rush. Just because you're on your journey and maybe someone next to you is firing full steam ahead and you're thinking, I'm not keeping up in pace in life, Yes, you are, my friend. You're doing you, and there's only one of you in this world, and that makes it incredible. And that makes you incredible, because there's only one of you. So on that note, God bless, embrace it, take your time, and yeah, change is good, and this life is frightening at times, and it is scary, but it's also worth it and incredible. On that note, if you do have any queries or questions for me, please leave them down below, and I do my utmost best to get back to you as quickly as I can. And on that note, I look forward to your company real soon. Bye now.